Attention, you're listening to the Todd Huff Radio Show, America's home for conservative, not bitter talk radio. Be advised that the content of this program has been documented to prevent and even cure liberalism, and listening may cause you to lean to the right. Here's your conservative, but not bitter host, Todd Huff.
Well, that is right, my friends. You have tuned in to America's home for conservative, not bitter talk. It is my distinct honor and privilege to be here with you today. We're going to talk today about the latest American hero. Of course, he's not American at all, but Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Listen, there's a lot of information out there that is simply incorrect, incomplete, misleading. It's not an easy case. I'm not here to say that, but the way that this individual is being defended in the media, well, it explains why Pam Bondi has said that the media is out there defending gangsters at the expense of American citizens. I've got a whole bunch of stuff to get to here today, including, I use AI. Now, I don't use it. I use it to help do things more quickly. I help basically to do research for this program. Anytime there's a complicated sort of topic or issue or a bunch of court documents that need to be sifted through, I will use AI at times to summarize things. And boy, do I have a story about how AI let me down here today. This is why it's important to never lose our ability to critically think, to pay attention, use AI as a tool. Some people are tempted, do not do this. Some people are tempted to use AI as though it is a complete clone of yourself. Listen, it's not that. It's not that. You can do some amazing things with AI, but you have to hold it accountable, and you can never stop thinking. If you stop thinking, you'll start believing the stuff AI tells you that is simply factually incorrect. And I'll get to that because I used it in some of my preparation here today to go through all of the stuff. Well, some of the stuff I, of course, read and just do manually. But some things I ask for synopsis or summaries of, and it let me down. I don't know how else to say this. So I'll get to that as well, my friends. That's where we're headed in this episode. If you're in sales, though, let me talk to you for just a moment here. Are you where you want to be? Whether you are struggling to close deals or you just want to sharpen your skills, Matt Easton and Easton University is here to help you. And we have a little bonus for you as a listener of this program. But Matt and his team are here to help you become a better salesperson. They're here to help you with personalized coaching. They're here to help you with a system, and following it will pay off. I followed a lot of sales instructors over the course of my time in business and in sales. I put Matt Easton's stuff up there with anybody's. He's a great guy, a fantastic coach, knows what he's talking about. ToddHuffShow.com/Easton is where you can go. And if you sign up to become a student there, whether for yourself as an individual salesperson or whether you do that as part of a team, maybe you're a sales manager, you can get a welcome call if you sign up through that website, ToddHuffShow.com/Easton, if I didn't say that already. You'll get a one-on-one call with Matt. He will help you kind of start your process, hit the ground running, walk you through your personal challenges, and get you up and going as quickly as possible. ToddHuffShow.com/Easton, EASTON. Do not let this opportunity pass you by. Invest in yourselves, my friends. You are worth it. All right, let's talk about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Now, if you listen to the media, this guy is a national hero. In fact, Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland actually jumped on an airplane to go down to El Salvador to try to visit with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who's now in prison in El Salvador. He did that yesterday, and of course, I'm going to go through all of this. I'm going to paint the background. I'm going to give you the facts. We've talked about this a little bit. And we've talked about some of the things that are happening in the narrative or some of the commentary that's being given by the administration, Stephen Miller in particular, We played a healthy chunk of his conversation with the media a day or two ago, and this is precisely what he was talking about. So if you don't know Kilmar Abrego Garcia, he is an individual who was in this country illegally. He claims he entered, I believe, near McAllen, Texas in 2012. Now, this is what he said. Of course, there's no real way to know this, but that's what was originally discovered about him when he was arrested. I believe they found this out when he was arrested in 2019. He was arrested in 2019. He'd been living in Maryland. In fact, this is the guy, if you've heard me talk about on here before, this is the guy that the media wants to call a Maryland man, a Maryland father. Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Make no mistake about this. You can have opinions about what you think that this means and how he should be treated and handled. You can be against what's happened to him ending up in this prison in El Salvador. These are mutually exclusive things. But as a matter of fact, Kilmar Abrego Garcia is not an American citizen. He is not someone who is a permanent legal resident, which pause that for just a moment. I got an email from one of you yesterday asking me to speak about, I guess, the idea that there are different types of folks that are here who may not be citizens, who may be here legally. So she brings up a good point, and I do want to get to that throughout the course of this conversation today, so let's do our best to get there. But he was arrested in 2019, and he was suspected of being a member of the violent MS-13 gang. Now, I'm just going through the facts here. So he's not here legally. He is an illegal alien. You can have opinions that do not like how he's been treated. You can disagree with him being in the El Salvador prison right now. That's not related directly to this. I mean, it's what's caused this thing to happen. It's certainly created, it's a part of the story as to how he got there. But as a matter of fact, it's not an opinion. He is here illegally. As someone who is here illegally, he could be deported. Now, in 2019, he was actually given a deportation order to his home country of El Salvador. Now, during this process, he was also given what is called a withholding order. This is, by the way, what Stephen Miller was talking about with the media. He said, look, do you guys know the difference? Do you know what these things are? You've had 72 hours to look into this, and I don't think one of you can tell me what a deportation order is, how it differs from a withholding order. Let me tell you what this is. So, a deportation order is when someone has been ordered by the court to be deported from the United States of America. You cannot receive a withholding order unless you have a deportation order. So when you hear, this is where the media is super deceptive and they are not telling you the full information. I want you to have all the information as much as I'm able to sift through it and provide it to you. Look, by the way, I should tell you, if you're a listener to this program, what we're talking about today is a little bit different. At least I feel like. Maybe it's not. Maybe Oz has a different feeling, opinion. Maybe you have a different feeling and opinion. This is exactly what we do every day. But I feel this is a little bit more different because we are, I would say, more in the weeds on a particular story. This is more in line with reporting versus talking about ideas. Now, I certainly will talk about ideas today, but I'm trying to give you the facts here. I'm trying to do the job of the media, even though I'm not a member of the media. I'm not. I am not. I am a person who comes on here each and every day with opinions that I want to persuade you to agree with. Or, you know what? Sometimes I might find out that I have an incorrect opinion. And I want, through the course of articulating these ideas and beliefs, to come to truth. That's the core mission of this program, is to help people hear and receive truth. And I don't just mean a series of facts, which we're going through a series of facts today. I mean deeper truth. This is, folks, tomorrow's Good Friday. Jesus told Pontius, well, he told his followers, he's the way, the truth, and the life, and that no man comes to the Father but through him. So when I talk about truth, I don't necessarily just mean the truth about a certain series of events, although I certainly mean that. I'm talking about larger truth, the truth that we are created, for example, in the image of Almighty God. The truth, for example, that our rights come not from our government, not from another man, not from another human being. These rights come from our Creator himself. That among those rights are life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, say property. There's other rights, the right to free speech, the right to protect oneself. That's where the Second Amendment comes in, to keep and bear arms, to protect yourself against all potential threats from someone who might break into your home or injure your family. Whether he's an illegal alien or a citizen of this country, you have the right to protect yourself, or if that person is a member of a tyrannical government. So these things are the larger truths, if you will, that I want to get to. So normally we're not going through the minutia of particular stories like this, but I think it's important because we're being gaslit and misled by the media. So all they want to tell you is that a judge said you can't deport him to El Salvador, his home country. But the first thing we have to acknowledge, and that everyone should know in formulating an opinion on this case, is that a judge said this individual, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, should be deported. He was given a deportation order. The withholding order said, after he was given the order, to be deported, he said, look, I can't be deported to my country of El Salvador because my life is at risk. In fact, as I understand it, the argument was his life is at risk from rival gangs, to which now they act like this guy is not a member of a gang. So deportation order was given, but also a withholding order that says this guy can't be sent to El Salvador, which is his home country, which is where he would be deported in a normal set of circumstances. And this is precisely what Stephen Miller was talking about when he was addressing them. He was dumbfounded that the media, of course, they don't want to know. And if they do know, they want to mislead us. All they want people to know is that a judge said that he cannot be deported to El Salvador, which is where he was deported. Which, listen, I get is problematic. I'm not here to say that this is a perfect scenario, but I'm here to tell you that there's a lot more to this than you are being told in the media. That's why I want to go through this today. That's why Stephen Miller was confounded and just aggravated out of his ever-loving mind the other day, because he was talking with the media who either doesn't want to know, doesn't care to know, or who wants to intentionally pretend they don't know so that they can lie to you about what's going on here in this particular case. Deportation order was given, as was a withholding order, meaning you can't deport him here. You can deport him anywhere else. So this guy, since 2019, could have been deported. He had his due process, so to speak. The only thing that couldn't happen was the final deportation, because the only place that you can deport a guy without another country stepping in and saying, we'll take that guy, is his home country. So that hadn't happened, and I don't think it had been pushed to happen. So this guy has been here for 6 years now, since that that withholding order and the deportation order were issued. Now, this is not just some average guy on the street. This isn't some peaceable dude. Let me read for you. The Trump team has released this. This is, I believe I've got this in the stack of stuff. I know it's in the stack of stuff. I just don't know if it is it might be a link within a story. I don't know if I've got its own link. So let me just read to you. This is some paperwork on this guy. March 28th, 2019, 6:47 p.m. and 57 seconds. This individual, Kilmar Armando, is the first and middle name, and then Abrego Garcia, the last name. So here's the report that was filed by law enforcement on March 28, 2019 at approximately 2:27 p.m. Detective, it's been redacted, blank, with the Hyattsville City Police observed 4 individuals loitering in the parking lot of the Home Depot, located at, it's got the address. As the detective approached the individuals, 2 of the individuals reached into their waistbands and discarded several unknown items under a parked vehicle. All 4 individuals were stopped by Hyattsville officers. Detective whoever immediately recognized, what's this say? It's kind of got a Christian Hernandez Romero, a.k.a. Bimbo. Didn't catch that before. So we got Bimbo running around out there with the American hero here, as a member of the MS-13 Sailors Clique. Is that what this is a photocopy that's been uploaded as a PDF, and it's hard to read in places. 2 small plastic bottles containing marijuana was located on the scene. All 4 individuals were transported back to District 1 for interviews. Member of the Prince George's County Gang Unit MS-13 Intelligence Squad have encountered Hernandez Romero. Again, this is not the same individual that we're talking about here, who's been deported to El Salvador. This other individual, has an extensive criminal history for multiple assault, concealing dangerous weapon, burglary, and many other criminal offenses. He has also been found guilty of gang participation in the circuit court for Prince George's County in December of 2018. Officers know Hernandez Romero to be an active MS-13 gang member with the Sailors Clique with the rank of Observacion, the moniker of Bimbo. Officers also interviewed Jose Guillermo Dominguez. During the interview, officers observed tattoos of skulls covering their eyes, ears, and mouth. Officers know these kind of tattoos are indicative of the Hispanic gang culture. The tattoos is meant, should be are, to represent, oh boy, this is ver or e collier. See no evil, hear no evil, and say no evil. Ironic that's on gang members, but anyway, he also had a tattoo of a devil on his left leg, which officers know only higher-ranking MS-13 gang members are allowed to get a tattoo with the horns. This represents power within MS-13. Officers made contact with a past, proven, and reliable source of information who advised Jose Guillermo Dominguez is an active MS-13 gang member with the Sailors Clique, the rank of Chicao, with the moniker Maniaco. So he's out here running the streets with Maniaco and Bimbo. Officers then interviewed our hero, the American hero, the El Salvadorian American hero, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. During the interview, officers observed he was wearing a Chicago Bulls hat and a hoodie with rolls of money covering the eyes, ears, and mouth of the presidents on separate denominations. We've gone through what that means above. Officers know such clothing to be indicative of the Hispanic gang culture. The meaning of the clothing is to represent, again, ver, oyer, e collier. See no evil, hear no evil, and say no evil. Wearing the Chicago Bulls hat represents that they are a member in good standing with MS-13. Officers contacted a past, proven, and reliable source of information who advised Kilmar Abrego Garcia is an active member of MS-13 with the Western Clique. The confidential source advised that he is the rank of Chicao with the moniker of Chele? I don't know. So he's hanging out with gang members when he was arrested in 2019. They believe, law enforcement, the folks that are assigned to these gangs, believe that all 4 of these guys they know a couple of them are, they believe that our American hero is a gang member as well. Now, got the police report here. It's got the record of deportable, inadmissible alien written here. There's a bunch of reports here that the administration has made available that shows that this guy, here's his some more information. He's a citizen and national of El Salvador. He claimed to have walked across the desert for many days, entering illegally into the United States near McAllen, Texas, on or about March 25th, 2012. His fingerprints and photograph were entered into the database and returned with the immigration and criminal history listed below. It shows immigration charges. It shows that gang validation per Prince George's County Police Gang Unit, Abrego Garcia was validated as a member of the MS-13 gang. Subject was identified as a member of the MS-13 gang. His nickname or name was, rank was Chikeo. Anyway, all this stuff in this paperwork, the American hero. Listen, again, complicated case. I'm not saying he should be in an El Salvadorian prison at the moment. I'm saying that we're talking about this guy like he was just targeted accidentally, just an average run-of-the-mill guy. First of all, he's an illegal alien. Second of all, there is a history of this, of connections with the gang, which is who Trump says he's going after. But here's the point. Even if he was not a member of a gang, he can still be deported. Now, the problem, and it's a problem that needs to be acknowledged, is that there's an order that he's not supposed to go to El Salvador. Now, is that a real thing? Is there real threats against him from other rival gangs? Is this a tactic and technique that they know actually keeps them from being deported? They at least know that. It doesn't mean that the threat still can't be real, but they know that. And it absolutely is true that some people use this to their advantage. There's no doubt about this. You don't have to know. It's just like claiming insanity if you've been charged with a crime. These things, we know that it's been abused, but we also know that there could be legitimate instances of these things. So the question here is, why are they treating this guy like he's some sort of American hero? But it doesn't just stop there. I'm getting to the end of this. Actually, I got to stop. I do have to stop here, but I got a lot more to say about this. We've got a violent history. We got his wife or maybe it was his girlfriend at the time, filing a restraining order against him. The wife has responded to this. We got a bunch of stuff to get through. I have to take a time out. You're listening here to Conservative, Not Bitter Talk, treating this issue with the utmost level of fairness, transparency, and just good old-fashioned reporting, even though I am not a reporter. Quick time out, my friends. Back here in just a minute. Welcome back, my friends. Talking here about the full story. And this is going to take a while. Kilmar Abrego Garcia. This has hit the news. This is being halfway reported correctly, halfway reported incorrectly. I want to go through this with you, and I've been doing that here. We know that this individual, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, has connections with the gang. They believe he was identified as a positive member of MS-13, which is not a good group of people. These are wicked, evil people. On top of that, Fox News, this is reported elsewhere as well, but this article happens to be at Fox News. Maryland man, that's what Fox News has in quotation mark, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, exposed in police records as violent repeat wife beater. Garcia, an illegal immigrant from El Salvador with alleged ties to MS-13, was dubbed a Maryland man by Democrats and the left-wing media. This written by a team of folks at Fox News. I don't know why it takes so many people to write these articles, but nonetheless, here's what it says. A now deported illegal alien accused of being an MS-13 gang member that was living illegally in Maryland has a record of being, quote, a violent repeat wife beater, according to court records filed in Prince George's County, Maryland, by his wife. Fox News obtained the written domestic violence allegations in court against the 29-year-old Kilmar Abrego Garcia with his wife, Jennifer Vasquez, in 2021. In the filing, written in Vasquez's own handwriting, She alleges Abrego Garcia repeatedly beat her, writing, quote, "At this point, I am afraid to be close to him. I have multiple photos/videos of how violent he can be and all the bruises he has left me." Vasquez alleged that Abrego Garcia punched and scratched her on her eye, leaving her bleeding. He also allegedly threw her laptop on the floor. She wrote that on another day, Abrego Garcia got angry again, started yelling, and ripped her shirt and shorts off before grabbing her arm and leaving marks. Vasquez recalled 2 times in 2020 that Abrego Garcia hit her. In November 2020, he hit me with his work boot, she wrote. In August 2020, he hit me in the eye, leaving a purple eye. Additionally, the DHS released court documents regarding Abrego Garcia, which cast further doubt on the Democrats' narrative about his innocence. DHS released new documents this week, which it says definitively proves Abrego Garcia who was deported to the El Salvadoran mega prison terrorism confinement center last month as a member of the notorious MS-13 gang. I'm not going to read this whole thing. You get the idea, but the wife here, story doesn't end. The wife has responded. The wife has responded to these allegations. This is at CNN.com. Abrego Garcia's wife, hold on here, there we go, responds to Trump administration publicizing civil protective order filing from 2021. Likewise, this has multiple authors. I don't understand why a single journalist needs a team of people. But anyway, this is what CNN is reporting. The wife of the Maryland man who was, there we go, the Maryland man who the U.S. government mistakenly deported to El Salvador. There's so much. This is the first sentence. The wife of the Maryland man. The wife of, how about this? The wife of the El Salvadoran citizen. How about that? Who was illegally living in Maryland, who was scheduled to be deported, but because of the withholding order preventing him from going to his home country, they could have sent him to any other country that would have been willing to accept him. I don't see that. The U.S. government mistakenly deported him, is what this says, which is true. If you read that full sentence, mistakenly deported him to El Salvador. That part is correct, but he should have been deported. And this needs to be shared. He was eligible. He's been ordered to be deported. He just can't be deported to El Salvador, which is where he is. All right, here we go. It was said out of an abundance of caution that the couple had worked through their issues. Oh, they've worked through this. They worked through the black eyes and the repeat beatings that I just read she had filed against him. The statement Wednesday from Kilmar Abrego Garcia's wife, Jennifer Vasquez Sura, I did not see that in the Fox article, but nonetheless, you figured 3 journalists could have gotten that part, came after the Department of Homeland Security posted on X a copy of a protective order that Vasquez Sura requested against her husband in 2021. CNN has also reviewed the petition for a protective order provided by a Homeland Security official describing a disagreement and physical altercation that included hitting and scratching between Garcia and Sura. That's not what I just read. I thought it was he hit and scratched her. It said this was between the two of them. Is CNN trying to cover up spousal abuse here? I don't know. I mean, listen, these are allegations. I don't know. I'm just saying the idea that this guy is a saint, the idea that this guy is an American hero, is a far cry from reality. The Democrats are all in on defending this guy. And listen, I am 100% in favor of due process rights. 100%. I'm also 100% in favor of stopping Americans from having the system we have in place, our goodwill against people who are trying to come into this country. I'm 100% in favor of not allowing that to be used against us. I don't like when people play legal games, which very well may be the case. In my opinion, it's at least worth considering here. A game that says once he found out he was going to be deported in 2019, he then claimed that his life was in jeopardy from what I understand, because of his connections to a gang here with MS-13, and he, of course, is afraid of rival gangs in El Salvador. But I thought he wasn't part of a gang. See, the bottom line is he is eligible to be deported. He had been ordered to be deported, but the order also claimed, the withholding order, that he should not be deported to El Salvador. So, again, this stuff is on the website. Listen, there's so much to this. I'm trying to get through this, trying to do this the right way, trying to be fair, trying to talk about these things. So that's the gist of it. I mean, there's a lot more to it, as you might imagine, but that's the general gist of the background here. So, hold on here. I think I read, let me go back to this CNN article. What did she say? I thought that there was, here we go. In her statement to CNN, Vasquez Sura said she sought a civil protective order in 2021 after a disagreement with Garcia. Okay. That seems suspect. What do you mean by disagreement? Disagreements on a regular basis with lots of people. I've never once filed for a civil protective order. Unless there's something else that goes along with the disagreement, including some sort of physical threats or physical harm or something else that happened, this seems, I mean, are you saying that you shouldn't have done it? What is this? Vasquez Sura noted she had survived a previous relationship that included domestic violence. She did not appear at a court hearing, and the matter did not proceed. Things did not escalate, and I decided not to follow through with the civil court process, she said in a statement. We were able to work through the situation privately as a family, including by going to counseling. Our marriage only grew stronger in the years that followed. That's good. It's only had one way to go there. No one is perfect, and no marriage is perfect. Listen, I fully understand and respect all of that. It's her prerogative, but it doesn't change the words that were written. And it's amazing to me how CNN just laps this up. I mean, it's not in one sense because I know who these folks are, but in another sense, my goodness, they're selling out whatever little credibility they have left to defend this guy who has a track record of being absolutely just violent and despicable. She continues in her summary, this is not a justification for ICE's actions of abducting him and deporting him to a country where he was supposed to be protected from deportation. Kilmar has always been a loving partner and father, and I will continue to stand by him and demand justice for him. Didn't sound like it from the report I read. So now she's defending him. It doesn't sound like CNN has the least bit of interest in understanding why she filed this to begin with. We just had a disagreement. Okay, so you had a disagreement, and then you went and told him that he was giving you black eyes and hitting you with a boot, and now that's just a disagreement? What is going on here? None of this adds up. None of this passes the smell test. This is, again, CNN is all in on defending this guy. The media at large is all in on defending this guy. The Democrat Party is all in on defending this guy. In fact, I referenced it earlier, but Senator Chris Van Hollen from Maryland actually made a trip down there. As this stuff was breaking. Again, to save the American hero, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who, by the way, isn't even American, who clearly is here illegally, has a deportation order. The only thing stopping him from being deported to El Salvador was the withholding order. He could have been deported at any time because he's here illegally. He's been tied to a gang. Even if he wasn't tied to the gang, he still could be deported. This stuff, folks, I got to take a break. Sit tight. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute. Welcome back, my friends. So much to say about this. By the way, I did see, if you read down in this article a little bit further, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, based on the sensationalism of many of the people in this room, lecturing at the media here, you would think we deported a candidate for Father of the Year. That is what it sounds like. I think it's an American hero who's not even American, but hey, when did that matter? When did words having definitions to the left mean anything? So much more to say about this, my friends. I just want you to have the true bit of information, not just what the media is telling you and what I want you to know what they're keeping from you, which seems to be that he had a deportation order. Anyway, before we get to that, my friends, if you love seafood, I'm talking real seafood that is from America, by the way. I mean, we don't, talking here about someone who's here illegally and all of that. This is authentic American seafood off the coast of Alaska, even some from the rivers in Alaska, the Kenai and Castleoff rivers. Salmon, which is harvested from those rivers. It's put in vacuum-sealed packages. It's shipped to you next day air to lock in that fresh, just caught flavor. They also have halibut from the Gulf of Alaska, mild, sweet, and perfect for any recipe. And they've got a lot of shellfish, king crab, snow crab, scallops, the best Alaska has to offer. Dare I say the best America has to offer with her seafood. It can be shipped to you, my friends, quickly. It maintains its freshness, no middleman. This is a great thing to do for lovers of seafood. Kenai Fish is about quality, sustainability, and supporting hardworking fishermen. Go to KenaiFish.com, KENAIFish.com. Use promo code Todd, and you will save 15% on your order. That's KenaiFish.com, KENAIFish.com. You'll taste the difference, and my friends, you will be hooked. All right. Still trying to piece this whole story together for you. My commentary on this is going to be largely reserved for the second half of the program. So, allegations of abuse made by the wife. I don't know if she was the girlfriend or the wife at the time, but she made allegations of abuse. She's come out and said they've worked through those. She didn't even go through with it, making it sound like it never was an issue, using the word disagreement to, I guess, frame the way that the abuse took place. Anyway, whatever the case there, I'm not comfortable with that. I mean, these are private circumstances and situations between two people that I don't know any information about other than what was reported, put in the report. Was she lying about that? Is she covering for him now? Did she try to make it sound worse than it was then? Is she trying to make it sound not as bad as it really was now? I don't know. All I know is that there's plenty of evidence to suggest this guy is not a good dude. Now, that's not grounds to be deported. The grounds to be deported are that you are here illegally. The only reason that this stuff even matters is because Trump and his team say, look, we're starting specifically with the people who are the worst of the worst, the violent offenders. This is who we're starting with. So a district court made a ruling here recently. They ordered the U.S. government to, quote, facilitate and effectuate Abrego Garcia's return to the United States of America. So they say, look, he shouldn't have been put in with this group of people. He's not supposed to go to El Salvador. You have to bring this guy back to the United States. The Trump administration appealed this decision to the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, I'm going to read to you. I'm going to summarize to you. Remember I said at the top of the program, I used AI to summarize this. I'm going to tell you, I've only got a couple minutes this segment. This is going to go into the next hour, which I knew it would anyway. Let me just tell you what happened here when I was talking to AI. I said, please provide an unbiased one-page summary of the Supreme Court ruling on Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but it said this. The Supreme Court of the United States delivered a unanimous 9-0 ruling on April 10th, 2025. This is AI. We have some pretty advanced AI here that we are fortunate to use. In the case concerning Kilmar Abrego Garcia, ordering the Trump administration to facilitate his return to the United States following what was determined to be a wrongful deportation. Now, I had read some other things. I had heard some other commentary. And so after I read that, I responded to the AI. What did I say here? Hold on, The court ordered his return, I put this in all caps, return to the U.S. or his release from the prison in El Salvador. Right? Those are two different things. The court can say, well, maybe they can or can't say. I don't know. The court can say he needs to be returned to the United States or he just needs to be released from prison. What's he doing in prison? That's not where we were handing him off. I mean, which of those two things was it? And so it said this. Based on the research reports I provided, I can clarify the Supreme Court's order. And then it says the Supreme Court's order required the U.S. government to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release from custody in El Salvador. Number one. Number two, ensure his case is handled as it would have been had he not been improperly sent to El Salvador. So I said, but you said the ruling required his return to the U.S. Is that true or not? And it said this. I apologize for the inconsistency in my previous response. You're correct to point out this discrepancy, and I need to correct the record. And I got to stop there because I'm out of time this hour. Got to go, friends. Thanks for listening. SDG.